It's episode 103 of Family Life Mornings, a morning radio show hosted by Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. Our podcast, a weekly look at the moments you might have missed. If you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss anything. And find out more about what we do at familylife.org.
We know you have lots of choices. Thank you for picking Family Life Mornings.
Learning from a lost dog this morning, going along for a nice drive with the family in the car, but then a car accident, and one of the dogs of the family dog got out and was missing. Now, the good news is they found the dog several days later. Everything was fine. But have you ever had a plan in your life? You're going down the street, everything's fine, all of a sudden, there's a change of plans. Something happens that it totally adjusts your day, or in this case, several days. But you know what they found the dog doing several days later? The dog was herding sheep. The dog was doing what dogs do. Right?
Yeah.
They herd sheep. So what a lesson that is for us. Maybe you have something planned for today, and something happens. You go down the street, and totally you get news or something that totally changes.
Yeah.
Well, what do? You keep loving God and loving people. Just keep doing what we're supposed to do. Just keep going and give God all the glory.
They're here to wake you up, pick you up, and lift you up. Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life. A friend you can turn to.
Just leave me alone. Okay, I don't typically do this by myself, but I did last night now that I think about it. Most people say they would prefer to do this alone. Usually I don't do it alone because I say, hey, do you want to have some too? Or we'll go someplace and have it, a bunch of us together. 60% of people say they prefer to eat ice cream alone.
I can see that.
I know why. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
You are trying to eat it from the carton straight with a spoon, and you don't want anyone to find out. You are so busted.
Amen, sister.
Thanks for tuning in to Family Life Mornings. We're giving away free smiles, and we've got one that's just your size.
If it was Mother's Day coming up, you might think a scented candle would be a lovely gift. But Father's Day is coming up. Sure. Maybe a scented candle still is a lovely gift. It just can't be like gardenia or jade flower like Mom's.
Randy, I have one I just thought of, and I know you'll love this one.
Okay.
The smell of freshly oiled, a fresh leather baseball glove.
Oh, yes.
Oh, remember that smell?
Yes, that would be awesome.
That would be great.
That'd be a great candle, because you give Mom a candle maybe on Mother's Day. But for Father's Day, what scent? Well, Jonathan in Windsor texted us to say fresh cut grass. I love that smell. James in Williamsville says the smell of NASCAR, which I think is a blend of like high octane and burning rubber. I think that's what that is. Mark in Rochester says barbecue. Yum.
Yeah.
Don't like the candle. And then Kristen is in Millheim, Pennsylvania. She says sawdust, because it reminds me of my dad when he'd be in the basement working on a project. Just a sweet, sweet memory in that candle.
Yep. Who's this?
I'm Tanya from Liverpool.
All right. What's that scent for Dad?
I would always pick a mahogany and teak wood.
Oh, that's so refined.
Yeah.
See, if you're going to go with a wood, I would go with like cut pine. That's
a good one, too.
See?
Yeah. Like Christmas.
But with a little more sawdust.
Yes.
Donna Joe, and I live in Ovid. Hot cocoa. Reminds me of our camping days.
My name is Terry. I live in Dansville. And as for the answer about the candle, I would think about maybe sweet cedar.
Ooh, there's some more
Sweet
wood.
cedar. Does that bring up memories for you?
Cedar was one of my dad's favorite smells.
That'd be a great dad saying, too. Well, sweet cedar.
Sweet cedar, pick up your clothes.
Sharon, Wellsville, coffee.
Coffee-scented candle.
Yeah.
Like that.
Steve got really excited because he loves coffee in the morning, but Steve doesn't understand a coffee-scented candle isn't what his coffee smells like. If there was a motor oil candle, that would be what Steve's coffee smells like.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Amen.
Oh, yes.
Amen.
I get that.
My name's Carol, and I'm from Buffalo. Pecan waffles. The only problem with that one is she wants me to make them afterwards.
If you lit the candle, maybe you could just serve freezer waffle and tell him to close his eyes.
That would be great.
We're part of your complete breakfast. Family Life Mornings.
A freshman at Eagle Rock Junior High School won first prize in his city's science fair. And he was attempting to show how conditioned we have become to alarmist spreading fear of everything in our environment. In his project, he urged people to sign a petition demanding strict control of or total elimination of the chemical dihydrogen monoxide. And for good reason. He listed it can cause excessive sweating and vomiting. It's a major component in acid rain. It can cause severe burns in its gaseous state, and accidental inhalation of it can kill you. So he asked 50 people if they supported the ban of the chemical. 43 of them said yes. 6 were undecided, and 1 actually knew that the chemical was H2O. It was water. Yes. The title of his prize-winning project, How Gullible Are We? And he feels the conclusion is quite obvious.
It's the rain part of the acid rain, right?
A new day, a new start, a God who never changes. You're waking up with Family Life Mornings.
So we've got this neighbor down the street, Kevin, right? And he's always walking Molly. She is a good dog, and so we always wave. We always say hi to him. Hey, Kevin, because we're trying to love our neighbor. And that's what you do, right? You love your neighbor, the people who live near you. So the other day we were driving and we had the windows down and we saw Kevin and he was riding his bike. And so we yelled to him, hey, Kevin. And then he yelled back something, Steve. And so I asked my husband, Scott, I said, does he think your name is Steve? Of course not. So he's walking Molly the other day, and Scott yells out, hey, Kevin. And the neighbor goes, Steve. And Scott says, no, not Steve. I'm Scott. And the neighbor says, no, my name. It's not Kevin. It's it's Steve. And we've been calling him the wrong name like all this time, but I just want to encourage you, if you've been trying to love your neighbor, it's really not that hard. Like step 1, you learn their name, right?
It's okay if you're not ready to wake up yet. We'll just turn the music down and talk softer.
Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life Mornings.
A school system had a program in place to help children keep up with their schoolwork during stays at the hospital. And this one teacher was sent to help a boy learn his nouns and adverbs, but no one had told the teacher how badly the boy had been burned. Upset at the sight of the boy, she struggled and stammered through the lesson, and she left that afternoon feeling like she really hadn't accomplished anything. However, the next day, as she showed up again to teach the boy, a nurse stopped her and asked her what she had done to the boy. Thinking she had really blown it, she began apologizing. And the nurse said, no, you don't understand. We've been worried about that little guy, but ever since yesterday, his whole attitude has changed. He's fighting back. He's responding to treatment. It's as though he has decided to live. Well, 2 weeks later, the boy explained that he had given up hope until the teacher arrived. And this is what he said. They wouldn't send a teacher to work on nouns and adverbs with a dying boy, would they? Even if you feel like you've blown it, when you make the effort to try and help someone or give them hope, they get encouraged to keep on keeping on.
It's Thrifty Thursday on Family Life.
You pay good money for them, so you want your clothes to last as long as possible. Think short and cool. See, every time you wash your clothes, tiny microfibers break off. These fibers eventually end up in natural waterways like rivers and the ocean, but they also cause your clothes to wear out faster. So they tested darks, colors, and whites and found the overall best time and temp to get your clothes clean without overwashing them is a 30-minute cycle at 68 degrees. So the next time time you do laundry, time your cycle, and maybe take the temperature of your water. A small change in the setting could make a big change for our planet while making your family's clothes last longer.
Helping you do more with what God has given you. Thrifty Thursday on Family Life.
I was in awe, and if you've ever been to Salt Lake City, Utah, I had just arrived, and it was still daylight. There was a group of us, and there was a couple of local people, and we were walking downtown, and when you're in Salt Lake City, Utah, you just look everywhere, and there's these mountains that are just awesome. And you're walking around, my eyes were like saucers. It was like, this is amazing. And one of the people who lived there locally said, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I hadn't really noticed. And, they're used to it. They see it every single day. And I fall into that. If maybe you live in a Family Life listening area, and there's some beautiful, beautiful places around the Family Life listening area. And I remember when I first moved here, I was the same way. I was like, this is beautiful. But I fall into that thing sometimes where I just take it for granted. Yeah. And even scientists are saying that awe makes us happier, healthier, and humbler. Yeah, we're more humble when we appreciate what the Bible tells us, God's creation. And the reason that awe is there is because God made it, and God made everything good. So you've heard of the attitude of gratitude. Well, how about the attitude of awe today? And if you're saying, well, I don't see any of it, I submit that you're probably not looking hard enough. Right?
Or you need glasses.
One or the other. One or the other. So let's
check
appreciate
your awe-titude.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Family Life, a friend you can turn to.
Well, on this Father's Day week, you may have noticed you're becoming your father. For most guys, it happens around age 37. But here are some symptoms of becoming more like your dad. You take your grilling seriously. You mute the commercials on TV. You fall asleep when the game is on. And when you get up from the sofa, you grunt just a little bit. You know that sound. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, I'm my dad.
They're morning people because they love mornings and people.
It's Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life Mornings.
I plead guilty, Your Honor. However, I didn't even know. I didn't know these things. Do you realize that if somewhere between the year in 1980s and 2016, somewhere in that area, if you out loud in public sang happy birthday, you were breaking the law.
Copyright, right?
Copyright. But then in 2016, it was public domain. So we're okay now. But
now we are. Which is why that's why all the restaurants would have the happy birthday. We're here today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you were guilty back in that time. However, do you know today, and if you get, sometimes when you move to a different address, and although we've been in our house for a while, we still occasionally get mail for the previous occupant.
Edith Williams.
If you throw that away, that is a felony. If you throw away old mail that's addressed to someone specifically, even though you might think it's junk, that is illegal. Now, I'm thinking that if somewhere between the 1980s and 2016, if you got mail for a previous occupant and it had a video and audio recording of you singing happy birthday, I would contact an attorney right now. That's what I would do. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Steve, Terese, and Randy. Because you can never have enough friends. We're Family Life, a friend you can turn to.